Hello everyone and welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room for today's NinjaTrader orientation webinar event. My name is Chris and I'm a member of our platform support team at our office in Denver, Colorado. Before we begin, I would like to do a quick test of picture and sound so you can hear my voice and see the slideshow projection on your screen. If you could please type a Y into the room now for me. Thank you all very much for confirming that for me. I will take that sample into me that we're coming in loud and clear. Being a futures company, we do also have a quick disclaimer to read before we can proceed with our presentation. It is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity futures contracts or foreign currency. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you, and this will depend on your specific circumstance and financial resources. It is possible to lose all of the funds deposited with your broker, and you could even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at brokerage support@ninjatrader.com for more information or for a copy of the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember that these training webinars are not a solicitation nor recommendation, but simply educational in nature. NinjaTrader is also very active on social media, so be sure to follow NinjaTrader on Twitter and Facebook for exclusive market commentary, as well as updates on contract expirations. Additionally, the NinjaTrader blog is your home for all things NinjaTrader. It can be found at ninjatrader.com/blog. Go ahead and paste links into the room now. And I do also have a quick poll to post in the room to see what kind of NinjaTrader users we have joining us today. The poll question is, are you currently using NinjaTrader? Press the green 1 if you have downloaded and started using NinjaTrader. Press the red 2 if you have downloaded NinjaTrader but not started using the platform. Press the orange 3 if you have not yet downloaded NinjaTrader. While everyone is filling out the poll question, I would like to remind everybody that NinjaTrader is a free application for advanced charting, market analytics, automated strategy development, and trade simulation. We only charge a licensing fee for our platform when you're ready to execute live trades to an account with a supported broker. It looks like most of the people in the room have had a chance to answer the poll question. So it's pretty much split between people who have either downloaded NinjaTrader and started using it, or people who have downloaded NinjaTrader but not gone really into detail with the platform yet. There are a couple individuals in the room who have not yet downloaded NinjaTrader. So for anyone who has not yet downloaded NinjaTrader, you can use the links that I provided in the blue announcement box at the bottom of the page to get started with NinjaTrader, to download the platform for free, and also request a free market data trial. So NinjaTrader makes every attempt to remove hurdles and allow you to get started with our platform at no cost. Today I'm going to be using a free version of the NinjaTrader platform. So everything that you see me doing within my presentation today can be done with the free version of the NinjaTrader platform. When you download NinjaTrader for free, you can also request a live market data trial for either futures or Forex, and that'll allow you to test out the NinjaTrader software with a live market data connection. So Ingolf asked into the room. So today's presentation is going to be for the NinjaTrader 7 platform. So the majority of our webinars are still going to be geared towards NinjaTrader 7. NinjaTrader 7 is the flagship version of the NinjaTrader platform. So like I said, the majority of our webinars as well as other educational material is still geared towards NinjaTrader 7. NinjaTrader 8 is available as a release candidate. So it's not a full production release at this point, but anybody can download NinjaTrader 8 and start testing out that version of the platform. And we will be updating our webinars and other support material within the next couple months, most likely, to be geared towards NinjaTrader 8. But at this time, we are still using NinjaTrader 7 for the majority of our daily webinars, as well as the majority of our educational material. So to give an overview of today's presentation, we're going to gain an understanding of NinjaTrader's workspaces. We'll also take a look at some of NinjaTrader's common charting capabilities. We'll observe the ease with which orders can be placed and modified with a click of the mouse. We'll also take a look at NinjaTrader's ATM strategies, which allow you to predefine your stop loss and profit target levels before entering a position. And then finally, we're going to take a look at how we can monitor hundreds of markets simultaneously with the Market Analyzer window. So the idea of today's presentation is really to give a high-level overview of the numerous capabilities of the NinjaTrader platform. Today I'm going to be presenting from an existing workspace with a number of charts that I set up before the presentation. So the purpose of today's webinar is not necessarily to really go into the NinjaTrader platform and show you guys how to create new charts or create new windows. Like I said, we're going to be using an existing workspace within NinjaTrader to demonstrate some of NinjaTrader's core features. The webinars that we have scheduled throughout the week are going to go into greater detail on how to actually set up your installation of NinjaTrader as you see it within my presentation today. So today's session should last between 45 minutes to an hour. If you have any questions as we work through the topics of today's presentation, you can feel free to enter those in the room. I do ask that you try to keep the questions relative to the topics at hand because we do have a number of other individuals in the room, so we want to make sure that we maintain the flow of the presentation as well as keep the information relevant to everyone else in the room. But I will also have a few minutes at the end of the presentation to open the floor to more of an open question and answer session. So we're going to start out with today's presentation by defining a workspace for the NinjaTrader platform. So a workspace is simply a collection of windows that we save under a specific name. So the screenshot that I have on my slideshow right now is an example of a workspace within NinjaTrader. So all of the charts and all of the various windows that you currently see within the screenshot are all saved under the same global workspace title. So we've titled this workspace the Blue Dojo. And this is a screenshot of the workspace that we're going to be using in our webinars throughout the week. So this is the workspace from which I'm going to be presenting my webinar today. And then our webinars throughout the week are going to go into greater detail on how to actually set up each of the individual windows that you see within this workspace. So like I said, all of the windows that you see within the screenshot are saved under the same workspace title. So all of these windows are saved under the workspace title Blue Dojo. So workspaces allow us to easily save all of the features within an installation of NinjaTrader, all of the windows under a global workspace title. So then if we close the NinjaTrader platform and save the workspace as it currently appears on our screen, all of those windows will open exactly the same, in exactly the same way, in exactly the same position within our monitor the next time we start the platform. So again, if I was to close NinjaTrader and save my workspace as you see it now, the workspace is going to open exactly the same the next time I start the platform. So all the same charts, all the settings that I may have applied to those charts will all be active the next time I start the platform. So now that we've defined what a workspace is for the NinjaTrader platform, the next thing I'm going to do is switch over to my desktop presentation so we can actually demonstrate some of NinjaTrader's key features using the individual windows within this workspace. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my desktop presentation. You should at this time be able to see pretty much an identical workspace to my previous slide. However, you should be able to see live data updating on the chart because we are connected to a live feed from my desktop. So if you could just type a Y into the room now to confirm that for me. Okay, thank you all very much for confirming that for me. So we will go ahead and proceed with our presentation. The first chart that I'm going to take a look at is in the top left of my desktop display. So Tearing into this workspace, the first thing that we're going to do is discuss some of NinjaTrader's core features for charting. So you can see that I have a few different charts on this page, and I'm going to be looking at each of the different charts within my within this workspace to demonstrate some of NinjaTrader's key features. Like I said, the first chart that I'm going to take a look at is in the top left of my desktop display. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize that chart so that it takes up my full monitor space. So the chart that I have open on my screen now is a 5-minute candlestick chart of the E-mini S&P. So the E-mini S&P is a mini-size futures contract that trades based on the price of the S&P 500 index. So the green and red candlesticks that you see on this chart represent the open, high, low, and close values for each 5-minute interval, for each 5-minute trading period from the exchange. So you can see on this chart that I also have a few different indicators applied. I have an orange line that's plotting over top of my candlesticks, and that represents a 50-period exponential moving average. And then plotting a separate chart panel below my candlesticks, I have a MACD indicator. So the EMA, exponential moving average, and the MACD, these are just two examples of some of the more common technical indicators that are used in the futures industry. NinjaTrader comes with over 100 pre-built technical indicators with every installation of the platform. So many of the most common technical indicators used for retail day traders are already built within every installation of NinjaTrader. So we can access those indicators by right-clicking our chart and then selecting the menu item indicators. That will open this indicators window. The indicators window allows me to edit the parameters of any indicators that are already plotting on my chart. And then I can also add new indicators from the list here on the left. So within this top left quadrant of the indicators window, I can review that list of the 100 pre-built technical indicators that are available within my installation of NinjaTrader. And I can select an indicator from this list if I want to add it to my chart. So the example that I'm going to use today is this VOL indicator. And the VOL indicator is going to plot a histogram that represents the volume of each of the corresponding candlestick bars on my chart. So I'll select that VOL indicator from the list and click New to add it to my chart, and then click OK. So like I said, the VOL indicator plots as a histogram, and the height of this histogram represents the height of each of the bars of this histogram represents the volume of contracts traded in each of the corresponding price bars on my chart. So this makes it very easy for me to see where higher volume periods of trading are occurring at the exchange. In addition to providing over 100 pre-built technical indicators, NinjaTrader also provides an open development environment for custom indicators as well as automated trading strategies. So if you're looking for an indicator that is not already available within NinjaTrader, it's likely that you would either be able to build that indicator yourself or purchase it from one of the third-party developers in our ecosystem. So NinjaTrader does have over 400 third-party developers that offer custom trading indicators as well as automated trading strategies for the NinjaTrader software. So if you don't have the programming experience or the time to develop indicators yourself, it's likely that you can purchase or lease custom indicators from the third-party developers in our ecosystem. So the idea is that you should never have to worry about outgrowing the NinjaTrader platform. If you do expand your trading methodology to include indicators or tools that aren't already available within the NinjaTrader software, it's likely that you would either be able to purchase or lease those tools from one of the third-party developers in our ecosystem. So that's all I had planned for this specific chart, so I will go ahead and minimize it. The next chart that I'm going to take a look at is in the top right of my desktop display, so I'm going to go ahead and maximize that chart. So on this chart, I actually have two different data series plotting. So I have a 15-minute candlestick chart of the E-mini S&P, and that's plotting over top of a 60-minute box style chart. So in this case, I actually have two different data series on my on this single chart, plotting on two different time frames. So in this particular case, with a 60-minute candlestick chart plotting over top of a 60-minute, or excuse me, with a 15-minute candlestick chart plotting over top of a 60-minute chart, what this is allowing us to do is view two different time frames over top of each other, so we can compare shorter term versus longer term trends. So each of these objects on my chart is actually plotting as a separate data series. So the 15-minute candlestick chart is actually a separate data series from the 60-minute box style chart. But because these are the same instrument and because the price data is exactly the same, we're able to overlay both of these data series on a single y-axis, so a single price axis here on the right. So in order to overlay multiple objects on a single chart window, NinjaTrader allows you to manipulate the stacking order of these different objects by allowing you to manipulate what we refer to as the z-axis. So obviously, when you're looking at a price chart, you're going to have two axes on the chart. You're going to have a price axis, which is the vertical axis or the y-axis. And then you're also going to have a time axis on the horizontal. So the x-axis or horizontal axis will represent time. NinjaTrader provides essentially a third dimension on the charts, which you could think of as going into or coming out of your monitor. We refer to that as the z-axis, and the z-axis allows you to manipulate the stacking order of different objects on your chart. So for example, if we open this chart and if our longer term time interval was plotting on top of the shorter term candlesticks, obviously that is going to make it a lot harder for us to see those shorter term time interval. So what we would want to do in this case is reverse the stacking order. We could do that by selecting one of the objects on this chart by single left mouse clicking, holding down the shift key on our keyboard, and then scrolling with our middle mouse wheel to change the level. So again, what we've demonstrated with this chart is that we can overlay multiple data series on a single chart. In this case, it's allowing us to compare shorter and longer term time intervals. And then we can also manipulate the stacking order of the different objects on our chart by manipulating that z-axis. So I'll go ahead and minimize this chart. The next chart that I'm going to take a look at is in the bottom left of my desktop display. So I'll go ahead and maximize this chart. And on this chart, you can see that we have two different candlestick charts plotting within a single chart window. However, instead of overlaying these instruments, we're plotting them on two separate panels. So the instruments that we're using for this chart are, again, plotting on top, I have the E-mini S&P, which, as I described on the first chart, is a mini-sized futures contract that trades based on the price value of the S&P 500. And then plotting below that, I have a 2-minute candlestick chart of the cash value of the S&P 500 index. So on top, I have a futures contract. Plotting below that, I have the cash value of the index off of which that futures contract trades. So as you can see, there is a lot of correlation between the price of these two instruments. However, there is going to be some differences in the price data because they are two separately listed instruments. So what I'm doing within this chart is I'm plotting both of these instruments relative to the same time axis. So I have the same x-axis, however, I have two separate price axes. So what this is allowing me to do is directly compare the price of the E-mini S&P to the price value of to the cash value of the S&P 500 relative to the same time scale. So I can look for possible correlations in the price of the S&P 500 futures versus the cash value of this index. I could also add additional data series to this chart. So for example, I can add a data series for the NYSE net tick. So if I type directly on my chart, that will cause this mini data series window to appear. If I start with a plus sign, that'll let NinjaTrader know that I'm adding a new data series to this chart as opposed to changing one of the existing data series. Then I can type the symbol for the NYSE net tick. And as you can see, when I hit enter on my keyboard, that will add a third data series to my chart for the NYSE net tick. So the NYSE net tick is showing us the upticks on the NYSE versus the downticks on the NYSE. So a lot of professional traders use market metrics like the NYSE net tick to look for possible reversals in a trend on equity futures products like the E-mini S&P. So again, I can directly compare the price levels of the E-mini S&P to relative market internals or relative indexes like the NYSE net tick or the S&P 500. So I can look for possible trade opportunities and possible correlations between the price levels of multiple instruments. So I'll go ahead and minimize that chart. So at this point, we've looked at 3 different charts within NinjaTrader. The first chart, we talked about sort of the basics of candlestick charting, and then we also took a look at some of the indicators that we can use within NinjaTrader. And then finally, on that first chart, we briefly touched on NinjaTrader's capabilities for custom indicator and strategy development. On the second chart, we looked at how within a single chart window. And then with the third chart that we just finished looking at, we talked about how we can view multiple data series within a single chart window, however, plotting on separate price axes. Next, we're going to take a look at some of NinjaTrader's key features for order placement. So if you want more information about charting within NinjaTrader, I would invite you to attend the Charting 101 webinar, which is going to be tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That webinar is going to show you how to set up the charts that you saw me using so far throughout the presentation. And like I said, next we're going to take a look at some of NinjaTrader's key features for order entry, starting with the Superdome window, which of my remaining windows is in the top left of my desktop display. So the Superdome window is one of NinjaTrader's features for order entry. The Superdome allows you to place trades relative to the market depth data. So the market depth, that's the numbers that you see in the buy and the sell columns of the Superdome window. So the Superdome is going to show the current ask, bid, and last traded prices moving relative to a price ladder display. That's the column that we have here in the middle. And then the buy and the sell columns show us the market depth relative to the current best bid and best ask prices. So if we look at a specific price level, the number on that price level represents the number of pending contracts that are waiting to be bought or sold at that price level at the exchange. So market depth is valuable for a few different reasons. For one thing, is market depth can give us an idea of where possible levels of support or resistance may occur in the market. So if there is a specific price level that is much higher volume relative to other price levels, that could indicate a important technical level at that price, which may provide support or resistance to the market. I mean, right now you can see there's a little bit more volume at 2147 relative to other price levels. So it's possible that 2147 could be, I mean, it looks like that's from our chart, it looks like 2147 is pretty close to a daily low. So there may be support at that price level because traders are worried that the market might not push past it quite yet. The market depth data can also give us an idea of how our orders are going to affect the exchange. So right now we're viewing the E-mini S&P, which is a very liquid market. But if we were viewing a less liquid market like the crude oil futures, we can see that there are much fewer contracts available at the current best bid and best ask prices. So sometimes there's as little as only a handful of contracts available at the best bid or best ask. So if we were to submit a market order for 20 contracts when there were only 10 contracts available at the current best bid or ask prices, we would know that our market order for 20 contracts is probably going to actually move the market a tick. So I'm going to switch back to the E-mini S&P for now. Like I said, we can place orders directly from the Superdome window. So for example, we can place market orders by clicking the market buttons at either the bottom of the buy or the sell column. So if we wanted to place a buy market order, we could click the market button at the bottom of the buy column. If we wanted to place a sell market order for 2 contracts, first thing we could do is change the order quantity in this field. And then we could hit the sell market order to place a sell market order for 2 contracts. For demonstration, I'll go ahead and enter the market. I'll enter a buy market order for 1 contract. Order filled. So the market order is going to fill me at the next available market price. When I am in a position, we can see our unrealized profit or loss on the position at the bottom of the price column. And then below that, we can also view a position display. So the position display shows us the size and direction of our current position. So currently 1 contract long. So I can see the number here is 1, and then the background color is green, which represents that we're in a long position. If, for example, I was in a 2 contract short position, the number would read as 2. And the background color would be red to represent a short position. So we can also place stop and limit orders directly from our Superdome. So for example, we can place a sell limit order by single left mouse clicking above the current market price. Order pending. Or we could place a sell stop order by holding down the control key on our keyboard and then clicking with our middle mouse button or scroll wheel, again within that sell column. If we wanted to place a buy stop order, we could do so above the current market price by holding down the control key and then clicking with our middle mouse button or scroll wheel. And then finally, a buy limit order could be placed below the current market price by simply single left mouse clicking within the buy column, again below the current market price. Order pending. So you now see that I have some pending orders working in the market. I can modify these orders by single left mouse clicking the order marker once to pick it up, and then left mouse clicking again to put it down. I can also cancel these orders individually by clicking the red X that appears next to the order marker. Order canceled. I can also cancel all pending orders as well as flatten my current position by clicking this close button. So again, clicking the close button is going to cancel all the pending orders, and it's also going to offset my current position at the current market price. Order filled. So since I was in a 1 contract long position when I hit that close button, NinjaTrader submitted a sell market order for 1 contract to the exchange. So that sell market order offset my current position, and then clicking the close button will also cancel any pending orders that we have in the market. So now that we've discussed basic order placement from the NinjaTrader Superdome, the next item that I'm going to show you guys is the ATM strategies within NinjaTrader. ATM stands for Advanced Trade Management, and what ATM strategies allow you to do is predefine your stop loss and profit target levels before entering a position. So you can think of an ATM strategy essentially as semi-automated trading. You're still entering the position manually, but once you've entered the position, the platform will automatically fire your stop loss and profit target levels based on your predefined parameters. So you're entering the position manually, but then the platform, via the ATM strategy, is managing the exit of that position. So that's valuable for a few reasons. For one, is it removes the human component to risk management. I know for a lot of traders, one of the most challenging aspects of trading is the risk management component. It's all too easy when you're trading to let your emotions get the better of you and perhaps influence your trading decisions. So with the ATM strategies, you're predefining your stop loss and profit targets before entering a position, and thus removing the human component of managing the risk on a live trade. ATM strategies also free you from the management of your trade, so you can research new trading opportunities in the market. So if you're working an ATM strategy on a live position, instead of having to sit on that position and constantly monitor where you want to get out of the position, you can rely on your ATM strategy to manage the exit of the position for you, and you as a trader can turn to your charts and research potentially new trading opportunities. So before I demonstrate ATM strategies, what I'm going to do first is disconnect from my live market data feed. So right now it's receiving live market data by connecting to a Kinetic account. But what I'm going to do now is connect to a simulated data feed. So every installation of NinjaTrader comes pre-built with a simulated data connection. The simulated data feed is going to provide internally generated fake market data. So this isn't going to bear any real correlation to actual market activities, but it is going to give me a randomly generated streaming data feed that I can use to test out some ATM strategies. And one advantage of the simulated data feed for testing out an ATM strategy is the simulated data feed actually allows you to control the trend of the market. So you can control whether the market is trending up or down using this trend slider that I have here to the left of my dome. So if I want to test how an ATM strategy is going to function in an upward trending market, I can use this trend slider to artificially trend the simulated data feed up. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how to set up a basic ATM strategy. First thing I'll do is select Custom from the drop-down list next to ATM Strategy. And then that will activate the ATM strategy parameters at the bottom of my Superdome so I can define a stop loss and profit target level. So the stop loss and profit target levels of an ATM strategy are always going to be submitted in number of ticks relative to your average entry price. So for example, I could define a stop loss of 8 ticks and a profit target of 10 ticks. So what this is telling NinjaTrader is that if the market moves 8 or more ticks against my position, I want to get out of the market and cut my losses. However, if the market moves 10 ticks in my favor, I want to take my profit at that price level. So now that I've set up the stop loss and profit targets, next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and enter a quick position to show you how the ATM strategy functions.
Order filled.
So you can see that once my entry order fills, I just used a buy market order for this example, but once that buy market order fills me into a position, NinjaTrader automatically submits my stop loss and profit target orders using the ATM strategy parameters that I set up before entering the position. So my stop loss is submitted 8 ticks against my average entry price, and the profit target is submitted 10 ticks in favor of my average entry price. The average entry price is represented by this light brown price level in the middle of my dome. And then, of course, you can see the order markers plotting at the correct levels relative to where I entered this position with the ATM strategy. So what I'll do is trim the market up so that it hits my profit target order.
Target filled.
And as you can see, once the market trades at my profit target price, that profit target order is going to offset my current position and bring me back to flat in the market. So you can see when my profit target order fills, I'm now flat. And as you can see, as soon as my profit target order filled, the corresponding stop loss was also canceled automatically. And that's because ATM strategies use an OCO ID to link your stop loss and profit target orders together. So OCO stands for one cancels other. And what that means is if one of the orders in that OCO pair is either canceled or filled, the corresponding order in the pair will automatically be canceled. So that's why when my profit target order filled, the stop loss order was automatically canceled. And the same would be true if the market had gone against me and filled me at my stop loss price. The corresponding profit target order would have automatically been canceled. So I'm now back to flat in the market and I have no working orders. So I can also place trades within NinjaTrader directly from my chart. We just finished looking at the Superdome window, and we took a quick look at ATM strategies as well. Now I'm going to show you guys how to place orders directly from your chart. So I have a chart open directly to the right of my Superdome window. And as you can see on this chart, I have an additional order entry interface enabled. So NinjaTrader refers to this order entry interface as Chart Trader. So when you have Chart Trader enabled, you can see that there are buttons to place buy or sell market orders. You can also place orders at the best bid or best ask prices. So for example, if I were to hit the buy market button on this chart, that would submit a market order for one contract. And now you can see that there is a position display on my chart that shows me the size and direction of my position, the average entry price, as well as my unrealized profit or loss. I can also place stop and limit orders by right-clicking directly onto the chart whenever I have Chart Trader enabled. So I could right-click at a specific price level, and then I would have the available order options for that price. So if I'm right-clicking above the current market price, you can see that my order options are sell limit, buy stop, or buy stop limit. So I only have the types of orders that would be relevant at that specific price level. Similarly, if I right-click below the current market price, my options are now buy limit, sell stop, and sell stop limit. So I would not be able to place an order that's not relevant at this price level.
Order pending.
For example, I could not place a sell limit order below the current market price because that type of order wouldn't make any sense below the current market price. Buy a sell limit order would have to be placed above the current market price. So once again, I can use this close button to offset my current position as well as cancel any pending orders. I can move these orders individually by clicking once to pick up the order marker and then clicking again to set it down at a new price level. So NinjaTrader order modification is always a click and click method. So you click once to pick up the order marker and then click again on the new price level where you would like to set it down. And then again, hitting the close button here on the right is going to offset my current position at the current market price and then also cancel any pending orders that I have working at the exchange.
Order canceled.
Last item that I'm going to demonstrate from my Superdome window is I'm going to show you guys that you can also place ATM strategies directly from your Superdome. So to set up an ATM strategy, the first thing I can do is select Custom from this drop-down menu and then click the ellipses button that appears here to the right. Like I said, with ATM strategies, the stop loss and profit target levels are always defined in number of ticks relative to your entry price. So that means it makes it very easy to apply an existing ATM strategy to new positions. So you don't have to worry about what price you necessarily get into the market because the ATM strategy will always be submitted in number of ticks relative to your entry price. So what that means is that if you set up an ATM strategy that works well for the markets you're trading, you can save the parameters of that ATM strategy as a template. So you can see within this ATM strategy window, I can select a template from this dropdown next to ATM strategy. And I have an ATM strategy template set up under the template name example 1. And when I select example 1, that will automatically upload the stop loss and profit target parameters that I saved under this ATM strategy. So I'll click OK. And now when I enter a trade, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click the sell market button to enter into a short position.
Order filled.
As you can see, my stop loss and profit target orders are automatically submitted relative to the direction of my position as well as the average entry price. So you can see that I entered the market here at 21.51 even. So my stop loss order is submitted 10 ticks against that entry price, and then the profit target order is submitted 12 ticks in favor of that entry price. So since this is a short position, I actually want the market to decrease in value in order to make a profit on this position. So my profit target is actually submitted below the current market price, and the stop loss order is submitted above the current market price. So once again, I'll trend the market so that it approaches my profit target order. ATM strategy orders can be modified just like any other order. So I can click that order marker once to pick it up and then click again to set it down at a new price level. As you can see, order modification will also be reflected on my DOM. So if I'm trading the same market on a chart, and if I also have a DOM open with the same market, if I modify the orders from my chart, order modification will be reflected on my DOM and vice versa. So we can see the order markers working on my DOM, and we can also see the order markers working on my chart. If I modify the order from my chart, it's going to be reflected on the DOM and vice versa. So I'll let the market go ahead and trade at my profit target price to close me out of this position.
Target filled.
And again, once that profit target order is filled, the corresponding stop loss is automatically canceled. So at this point, we've looked at a few different ways to place orders from the NinjaTrader platform. We've looked at order placement from the Superdome window. We looked at order placement from the chart. And then we also took a look at ATM strategies, both on the Superdome as well as directly from the chart. Last item that we're going to discuss for today's presentation is the Market Analyzer window. So of my remaining windows, the Market Analyzer is in the bottom right. I'll go ahead and maximize that window. So the Market Analyzer is essentially what NinjaTrader offers as a market scanner. The Market Analyzer allows you to scan lists of different instruments for user-defined price or indicator conditions. So I can view my list of instruments is here on the left. I have a description of each of these instruments. I have a column that shows me the last traded price. I have a column that shows me the current value of an exponential moving average. And then I also have a net change since yesterday. So you can think of the Market Analyzer window essentially as charting without the charts. You can get all of the same data, all of the same information, however, without the graphics of the chart. So if you're just looking for a specific price or indicator conditions for a list of instruments, you can easily upload those that list of instruments to a Market Analyzer window, as opposed to having to open an individual chart for each of the instruments that you're scanning. So this makes it very easy to conserve on monitor real estate. If you are viewing lists of different instruments, and if you don't quite have the monitor space to open an individual chart for each of those instruments, that's definitely one of the handy uses for the Market Analyzer window. The Market Analyzer also allows you to set up alerts. So if you wanted to be alerted when certain price or indicator conditions are met, you could absolutely use the Market Analyzer window for that purpose. So that's all I had planned for the Market Analyzer window. So I will go ahead and switch back to my slideshow at this time. So in today's presentation, we looked at some of NinjaTrader's key features for charting. We also took a look at order entry from the Superdome as well as the chart window. And finally, we took a look at the Market Analyzer window, which allows us to scan lists of different instruments from a single window within the NinjaTrader platform. So if you do want additional information about setting up the NinjaTrader platform as you saw me using in today's presentation, I would definitely encourage you to attend our webinars that we have scheduled throughout the week. The next webinar that we have is scheduled for today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And in that webinar, I'm going to show you how to download and install NinjaTrader as well as get connected to a live market data trial. So if you are one of the individuals in the room who has not yet downloaded NinjaTrader, definitely make sure that you attend that webinar today, because I will be going through the step-by-step instructions for downloading and installing NinjaTrader as well as connecting to a live market data trial. And I should be going at a pace that you can follow along with me as well. If you're one of the individuals in the room who has not yet started using NinjaTrader because you don't have a market data connection, then you can also get a lot of value from the next webinar scheduled today, because I am going to go into detail on how to request a market data trial to use for NinjaTrader, as well as how to set up the data connection. So definitely, if you land in one of those categories, make sure that you attend the presentation today at 2 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, we hope to see you in future webinars throughout the week. I do have a few minutes left in the room today to open the floor to any additional questions, and feel free to type those into the room now. So Jimmy is saying that he had trouble contacting our support team. So our support team is typically going to respond to emails within 10 to 15 minutes. So if you haven't received a response from last week, I would assume that our support team did not receive your email. I mean, this may seem obvious, but definitely make sure that you're entering the platform support email correctly, is what I meant to say. You definitely want to make sure that you're entering the platform support email address correctly to ensure that we are receiving your emails. You may also want to try checking your junk or spam email folders to make sure that the replies from our support team are not getting filtered out. So I'll type I will enter the platform support email address into the room for you to use, Jimmy, as well as anyone else in the room. And then I can also send you a private note, Jimmy. So hang around for a minute until you receive my private note, and I'll make sure that we get someone in touch with you today. So there's the platform support email. Like I said, do make sure that you enter that exactly as it appears below. If you haven't received a response really within 10 to 15 minutes, go ahead and check your spam or junk email folders to make sure that the messages aren't being filtered out. You should also receive an automated reply within the first minute or two after receiving after sending your support request. That'll assign a ticket number and just give you a confirmation that your email was received. So if you don't receive an automated response within a couple minutes, and if you don't receive a human response within 10 to 15 minutes, I would suggest A, double checking that you entered the support email address correctly, and then B, checking your junk or spam folders to make sure that our replies are not being filtered out. And then, like I said, Jimmy, I am going to send you a private note. If you can provide me with your personal email and a private note, Jimmy, I can have someone from our support team reach out to you directly. So, Jimmy, I did just send you a private note that you can use to send me your personal email address, and I can make sure that someone from our platform support team reaches out to you again today. So if there are no additional questions in the room, I will go ahead and shut down the presentation room for today. Again, Jimmy, you should see a private note from me in the chat window. Okay. I will go ahead and have someone from our support team reach out to you again. Otherwise, we definitely hope to see everyone in the room in future webinars throughout the week. Thank you.